Sometimes, if you listen really hard, you can almost hear it.
Our first ever instant star is...
You're it, girl. You're the real thing.
That moment your life changes.
It's about a girl who is just about to fly off and see the world.
Forever.
Jude Harrison!
Hello and welcome to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. We are finally back after I can't tell you how many months. And as always, I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Sam.
And I'm here with the lovely Chloe.
And today, we are finally wrapping up Season 2 with our recap of Season 2, Episode 13, Date with the Night. This has been the longest recap of any season by anyone, anywhere. But, you know, life gets in the way, and we're here, and we're going to recap it today, so...
Yes. I wish I had a valid excuse, but I'm just like, life.
Yeah. It's really interesting because way back in the day, when I watched Instant Star, I loved this episode. Watching it now, as a 30-something-year-old, I wasn't as much of a fan of this episode.
I was the same way, and literally, I watched it when we originally planned to record this, and I had everything written down, my notes, blah 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 blah, and I lost that notebook. It may have happened in my cleaning spree I went on right after Christmas.
Whoops.
And I'm like, great. So I get to rewatch the episode. And I was like, I literally sat here today and must have said at least 20 times to my TV, you stupid teenagers.
Yeah. There's a lot that I want to dive into and talk about because I was surprised at my adult reaction to this episode. And we will be talking to Stephen Stone again in a few weeks, all about season 2. And I'm very excited to finally ask him about that Tommy storyline that never became anything.
Yeah.
But we will get into this episode today. So, Season 2, Episode 13, Date with the Night. Original air date was May 12th, 2006, which was so long ago. I feel old.
That was like right around a year before I graduated high school. So I was
crazy.
18. Oh my God. That was 20 years ago.
Oh my God, stop.
I know. I'm like, this is just making me feel old.
Oh God. So my synopsis is Jude's life seems too good to be true. With a fabulous record release party in the works and a romance with Tommy a strong possibility, but then something truly terrible happens.
I'm sorry.
Bit dramatic.
I'm like, it's like you said, you know, I loved it when I was a teenager and 17, 18 years old. I understood why it was life altering or whatever they just said in the summary. And now I'm like, something more important came up for somebody that has been involved in his life since he was a teenager, not for 2 years.
Yeah. And also, I think I liked it back then because we didn't know what the storyline was going to fizzle out to.
Right.
Like, back then, it was a cliffhanger. We were like, oh my God, he has a kid, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But now, obviously, we know that storyline weirdly kind of just ends by episode 2 of season 3 or something. So now it just annoys me because it could have been a really juicy
Yeah.
But now I'm like, why did they even bother with that kind of cliffhanger? They could have had something else happen
Mm-hmm.
with the same effect, you know?
Well, and I found like watching it now, I was really annoyed with Jude. Like I'm just,
We should
and
have a new
I think
segment going forward. What annoys us about you in every episode?
yes, I think it was I think it's like you said, it's the adult perspective now that we have. And it's like I was just saying, you know, at 17, 18, the guy that I have been waiting for forever to ask me out, and he finally asked me out and then shows up and it's like I have to leave. Yeah, that would have killed me.
Yep.
But now knowing what we know and knowing his relationship with Darius, however up and down and honestly sometimes toxic it may be, Darius is a very important person in Tommy's life.
Yeah, he made Tommy who he is, for better or worse.
Yeah. Well, I think it even goes deeper than that. I think Darius took on on the brother role.
Yeah.
For Tommy.
Yeah. I don't know what
And
the age difference is. I was going to say almost a father role, but maybe it's...
yeah, like father, older brother type of role. And so, like, seeing Jude's reaction, you know, 20 years now during a rewatch, I'm seriously like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
How vapid and shallow is your word at.
But also, it annoys me how throughout this episode, it's almost like they're writing Tommy out. Like at one point,
Yes.
Liam says he's not coming back. And
Yeah.
it's like maybe they thought Tim couldn't come back or something. I don't know. It was really strange.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was contract negotiations. Maybe it was. I don't know, but there were a lot of like little sayings that. Well, because I mean, even Tommy had said, and I'm not coming back.
Yeah, I forgot that part.
And so it almost did feel final.
Yeah.
And you know, back then I didn't get into TV shows the way I did. I didn't look at like returning cast and dates and this and that. And so that was a big mystery going into season 3 was what happened with Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so dramatic. But let's get into it.
Yes.
So, for those of you who can't remember what happened in episode 12, because it's been so long since we recapped, episode 12, Jude and Tommy wrapped Jude's second album. They had that amazing, passionate kiss that seemed like they were going somewhere, and everything was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 13 picks up with Jude saying goodbye to Mason, who's going on tour. And Tommy pulls up in his amazing car, and
Yes.
she gets in, and they hear her single playing on the radio at number 3, which is crazy. Like, number 3 would be incredible if it was your song.
Mm-hmm.
And Jude is obviously so happy, but is wondering where she stands with Tommy after the kiss. Like, he does that little cheek stroke thing, and oh my god, it's just chemistry flying.
Yes.
And then SME are getting instruments ready for Jude's upcoming performance, and Quest is hanging out with Sadie. He's still got a crush on her. It's kind of sad. Meanwhile, Liam scolds Sadie for being late to work, and then also lets her know that she has to work late tonight, so she can't go on a date with Quest. I want to get into the Liam and Sadie chemistry a bit later. Darius amazingly gifts Jude her own Mustang, which, oh my god, I wanted this car so bad after I
So
saw this.
bad.
And he gives her this car as a thank you for making a great second album, which, hello, amazing gift.
Yes.
And I love that Tommy teases Jude about how her driving has improved since he let her drive the Viper. And I just got so many flashbacks to season 1, episode 8. Like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Sadie then receives a gorgeous dress from Liam, and he tells her that she's working late that night because she's actually going to be going to a meeting with Liam.
I was totally hearing that like Sabrina Carpenter song in my head. I don't know the whole song. All I can think of is the I'm working late because I'm a singer.
Yes, amazing. Jude performs her set at, I think she's in like a shopping mall or something, and she sees Tommy having this confronting conversation with an unknown man before leaving. I also left out the huge piece of information that prior to that, he invites her to dinner to congratulate her on the album. So he invites her to dinner, she plays her set, and then she sees him leaving angrily with this random man who looks pretty scary, to be honest with you.
And he does not deny that he asked her out on a date. Because
Yeah.
she even asked, she's like a date? And he kind of smirks and shrugs.
Yes.
I'm like, I love you. So much chemistry, but God, so much gaslighting from both of you.
Meanwhile, Sadie attends this fancy dinner meeting with Liam, which is to try and get some French distributors wanting to buy Jude's music, which seems a bit random, but okay.
Yeah.
Sadie really impresses Liam at the dinner and gets him quite territorial between him and the French guy, so that was interesting. Speaking of dinner, Jude meets Tommy for their dinner, their date. After all these years, they're finally going on a date. And he's running late and then drops the bombshell that he's actually not late, he's leaving, and he doesn't think he'll be coming back. And then he runs out of the restaurant, gets into his Porsche with this hitman looking man, and Jude chases after the car and he doesn't go back. Drama.
Drama.
Jude is then backstage at her album release party and she's absolutely devastated that Tommy's gone. And Sadie tries to help her, but then Liam takes over and tries to give her some tough love about, it's your job, you have to perform regardless of whether Tommy's there or not. And she literally says, I can't work without my producer, which is such a 17 thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of performing at her own album release party, she leaves, which again, so dramatic. And she doesn't just leave and go to a bar down the road. No, she runs off to Mason's store, which is about 100 miles away.
Yes.
How long would it take you to drive 100 miles?
Well, when I used to travel to that place, it took me about 2.5 hours, and it was about 250 miles.
Oh, okay.
So about 100 miles is about an hour.
Not terrible then.
No.
It just seemed a bit intense that's where she...
Yeah.
And she tells Mason she thinks she's falling apart, and he says, we'll talk, but I need to perform first. Then we go back to Jude's party, and Darius is trying to reassure everyone that she'll be performing soon. Sadie lets Liam know that Jude's turned off her phone, so they can't get hold of her. And Liam calls Sadie useless, which is so rude.
Yes.
And then Speederman tries to convince Darius to let SME perform all of Jude's songs because they're her backing band. They know how to play them. Jamie has a better idea. He wants Patsy to perform Jude's songs. crazy idea, but it kind of works. Meanwhile, Jude actually hasn't turned off her phone because she's leaving message after message for Tommy.
I think it was 112 when we picked back
Yes.
up with Jude.
So Sadie can't get hold of her because she's just on the phone constantly, like a stalker.
Yes, because 20 years ago you talked on the phone instead of just texting a person.
Yes. And then she's approached by a fan, and they take a fan photo, and he convinces her to do shots at the bar with him, as if he doesn't know that she's 17.
Yes.
Then Mason convinces Jude to come on stage and perform with him, where she performs her song There's Us, at the same time that Patsy is performing There's Us. I'll dive into this scene when we go through again, but what a mashup. Oh my god.
Yes.
Quest is continuing to try and woo Sadie, which is just cringe at this point. After the performance, Jude continues getting drunk with this creepy fan guy. And then we finally see where Tommy is. Well, we don't know where he is, but he's at this big house, and there's a little girl waiting for him there. And she runs over to him, and it's implied that this girl is his daughter. Again, when I watched this first time around, I was like, whoa, what is happening?
I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Tommy has a kid.
Jude is very drunk at this point, so Mason gives her his room key, but he doesn't walk her to his room, which he definitely should have done. The creepy guy walks her to the room instead and waits till she's passed out and then takes really creepy pictures of her.
And takes advantage of it because Jude said, no, don't leave. I don't want to be alone or something like that.
Yeah.
And he should have still left because it was clear that Jude was not in the right state of mind. I mean, she was drunk off her ass.
Yeah. As you would be when you're 17 and you've barely had a drink.
Yes.
And you're drinking tequila shots. Like, ugh.
Ugh.
I didn't even drink tequila shots when I drank.
No.
Disgusting. The next morning, Jude wakes up hungover, as you would from all those tequila shots. And Jamie is at the door, so everyone is just traveling 100 miles at this point, like it's nothing. And Jamie convinces her to come back with him to face the music, aka face Darius. Jude does face Darius, who asks where Tommy is. We'll get into that. Confusing.
Stephen, we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. He lets her know that she's not the only talented one at G Major. There's a lot of people waiting to kind of catch her up and take her place. And the only reason she's getting a second chance is because her album has gone to #1. The episode ends with probably Jude's proudest moment, which is her album going #1, at the same time that we see the creepy photographer guy trying to blackmail her for $50,000 for the photos he took. And that is how season 2 ends. I mean, there's a lot to dive into.
Yes.
As I was recapping it then, there's a lot that's kind of quite messy about it. It seems more all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I feel like there was so much buildup in just about 75 to 90% of it fell flat.
Yeah.
Or fell away by episode 2 of season 3.
But this is what we said. So when we did the season 1 finale, we said then that often the previous episode, so the 12 episode, is really the finale, and then the finale episode of a season is kind of just tying up loose ends. But often the episode 12 is way better than the 13.
Yes.
And I think that's true of a lot of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
The penultimate episode of a season, the second to last, is often a lot better.
Yeah.
Let's go from the top. I mean, Jude is seeing Mason off on tour. I kind of forgot that Mason existed, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Like we hadn't seen him since that award show episode,
I
208, I
know.
think. And
Now
spoiler, this is the last we ever see of him.
Yes, because he
Goes off on
disappeared
tour and
on
never
tour
comes back.
with the dog.
Yeah.
It's funny. I forget like about all of the instant stars except for Jude and Karma.
Yes.
Like I forget about the 3 from season 4, Blue, and
Oh yeah.
I call him like Gavin DeGraw wannabe
Yep.
dude, and the little like teeny kid.
Yep. Yeah. I'm really
And
excited to ask Stephen what happened to Mason. Like
yes,
he just disappeared into the instant star black hole
yes,
with Kat and the dog and Jude's
yes,
mum.
yes.
And then obviously Jude gets in the car with Tommy and she's number 3 at radio. And they have that little like cheek stroke moment. And obviously it's coming off the back of that hot kiss from episode 12.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of hear her in a voiceover say, "Do you love me back? Like, what's going on with us? I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
It's typical Jude and Tommy. Like they do this for 4 seasons.
Yep.
If you'd had that passionate kiss with someone, wouldn't you like talk about it?
You would think that
Like,
you would. But apparently communication is not a strong suit for
no.
anybody in TV shows.
Especially in season 2, people just don't seem to talk much this season.
No. Except for Quest and Sadie, who talk in
Snooze.
circles. Snooze central.
Oh. And then we are outside G Major and they're loading Jude's instruments up for the performance, and Quest and Sadie are being just annoying. Does anyone actually like Quest and Sadie as a couple? Because Quest is just so cringe to me.
It wasn't that I liked them, it was that they were more tolerable to me than the couples we actually saw. But of course, my like 2 OTPs for Sadie were completely like far fetched, and I mean, one got a little bit of a maybe, possibly, and then one was just, I think, me reading in between the lines.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just Quest is trying to be like schmoozy and a gentleman, like he is trying, but it just comes off as cringe to me.
Mm.
And to be honest, in
Well,
that scene, Patsy steals it. Like, what does she say? She says an amazing line about maybe I wrote it down. No, I didn't. Damn it. Can't remember what she said. She says something to Sadie, and it's just like, oh, burn.
well, and the whole thing with Quest is, I really like the actor. I've seen the actor in other stuff.
Really, I
And
haven't.
I used to watch a show he was in called Flashpoint.
Okay.
I think that was the name of it. And I mean, he's a good actor, but it's just like after a while, I was like, okay, it was a typecast situation. It was always the sweet friend, and I'm like, give me something else.
Yeah.
But at the same time with Quest, it's like to the max, and I feel like with Quest, he's trying to be somebody, be something he's not. Maybe we Tommy level or even Darius level, and I'm just like, that's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It's he's not a bad actor. It's like the character was just written too cringy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just annoys me, and he annoys me as the show goes on.
Yes.
And then Darius gives Jude a Mustang, which is like the best gift in the world.
Yes.
And Tommy teases Jude about her driving, and oh my god, the sexual tension in this scene is off the charts.
It's I love it. I love it.
So many flashbacks to 108, which is one of the best episodes ever. And then he
Mm-hmm.
finally gets up the courage to invite her to dinner. Like, we've been waiting for this.
Yes.
I mean, she's also still underage, so we'll just breeze past that as being a problem. But that scene, off the charts. Like, I loved it.
Yes. And like for me, that scene is even I guess it's because of how they've grown closer and what they've overcome from like the beginning of the beginning of beginning of the season and like season one. But I like that scene so much better than like the scenes we got in 108 or only in season two.
Yeah, because they've grown so much.
Yeah,
You can really see, as much as they haven't sorted any of their shit out, they have
yeah.
both grown as
Mm-hmm.
like friends and then producer,
Mm-hmm.
artist relationship and everything else.
Well, that and I think it's even though they haven't so much grown like in their romantic relationship, it's like you said, they've grown as friends, but I think they've also grown as their own people.
Sorry, I just muted myself. Yes. Yeah, 100%. And it's crazy to think that the beginning of this season, Tommy was with Sadie.
Yeah,
Seems like a lifetime ago.
it does.
I mean, we took so long to recap the season, that's probably why. But I think like Sadie as well has grown past wanting to be with someone like Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
Finally. Like,
Yeah.
speaking of Sadie, her and Liam, my God. It's their chemistry is so much better than her and Quest.
Yes.
I love
Like
her and Liam.
I never really shipped her and Liam, but I could see the chemistry. I could
I
see why
really ship
people
them.
did. I just never got on that board, like that ship.
Oh, I loved them so much. Again, Liam disappears into a black hole, so
Yes, the mystery black hole that all of those shows have.
yes. But you can see like Sadie and Liam, and then in later seasons, it's implied that Sadie and Darius could potentially be something. Sadie
Be
likes
still my
men.
heart.
I know. Sadie likes men who have that
Are
bit
in
of
charge.
authority and grit, and that's
Yes,
why her and Quest never end up working.
right. She likes she likes the alpha male.
Yeah, 100%. Sadie and Liam, the two that could have been something wonderful.
Yeah. And, it's funny because, like I said, even though I never shipped them, so per se, I could always see it. But now, as I will be watching it, now I'm like, okay, I like see it a little more, and I'm like, that would be really cool.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
it's just interesting how not only does like how you look at the show and view the show and what you get from it changes over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then we get to the pivotal scene of the whole of the season, really. Jude and Tommy going for dinner. Everybody always goes to the same restaurant as well, but whatever. It's the same restaurant for every dinner. Tommy arrives, he's late, and then he leaves. And he
All
literally
within
says,
like less than 5 minutes.
yeah. He literally says, I don't think I'm coming back. Jude chases after the car, screaming his name. I mean, is he leaving town? Is he leaving the country? Is he leaving the world? Like, it's just not explained. And it's so dramatic. And so much hype was built up for this. And then by
Mm-hmm.
season 3, it's nothing. He comes back.
Well, because now, if I remember right, because I know you watched it on YouTube,
Yeah.
I remember right, there were certain clips because like they did a like the next week on preview, but they also had like a this season on preview, and that clip was in the this season on
Yeah, I think I remember
preview.
seeing that on YouTube.
And so I think we got that clip, maybe not the words, but we got the clip early on, and I just remember like all season going on the end message board and being like, "Where's the clip? Where's the clip? What is going on?"
Yep.
Like that was the clip everybody was talking about and wanting to know where it was and what it meant.
I felt like it worked really well. I just wish they had handled it better in season 3.
Yeah.
Continued the drama a bit somehow. Because otherwise
Mm-hmm.
it makes this episode seem messy, and it makes that exit seem completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
It just annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well,
then
and like, what?
oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say, and it goes back to watching it now. It, like I said, it just Jude really annoyed me
Yeah.
in that scene. Now I'm
Yeah.
just like, how dramatic can you be? How selfish can you be? How much of a child can you be?
Yeah.
And like, I didn't really feel sorry for her. I was like, you are just bugging me. Go away. Go play in the traffic. Actually, I felt bad for Tommy
Yeah, well,
because he could.
we saw and you saw him at the concert being kind of dragged away by that hitman guy.
Yeah,
So obviously she knows something's going on, but her 17-year-old brain doesn't think to try and ask him prior to this. Like,
yeah,
nothing happened. Like, she doesn't say, hey, like, is everything okay? What's going on? Nothing.
no,
Makes it all about her.
yeah. She literally goes from 0 to 1,000, and I'm just like, and I think what's bothering me so much is if it had been the first time, it would have been I would have been okay with it. But she does that a lot.
Every season, multiple times.
Yes. And so it's really interesting. Jude used to be my favorite character, and watching it now do for this rewatch, I'm really like I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I just want to smack you because you are pissing me off.
Yeah. And we see in the next scene, like, where she's backstage and she's just so upset, and Liam's trying to give her the tough love and Sadie's trying to help her. We see how reliant she is on Tommy. And this
Yeah.
only becomes more of a problem each season. Like, by next season,
Mm-hmm.
she literally has a breakdown because of their tumultuous relationship. Like,
Yeah.
they're so kind of enmeshed and she relies on him so much.
Yeah.
It's it's a very kind of one-sided dependent relationship in a way.
Yeah. Like she's becoming so dependent on him.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to be a functional adult
Yeah.
adult
But also, like,
without him.
where's her dad? Her dad isn't at her release party. Her dad isn't saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't be going to dinner with, well, Tommy's like 22 now, probably, when you're 17.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't do that when I was that young, but where are the grown-ups in her life?
Mm-hmm. and even to a point, why isn't Darius stepping in saying, "Hey, you are my 17-year-old artist, and you are my 22-year-old producer. This cannot happen in a workplace."
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that people find the whole storyline controversial now because of
Yeah.
the age gap.
Mm-hmm.
A bit, well, I think less of the age gap and more because she was like 16 when they met, or 15 actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, where are the grown-ups throughout these 4 seasons? Darius is a
Mm-hmm.
grown-up. What's he doing to help the situation?
Yeah.
You know, it's messy. It's very messy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I agree with Liam's tough love. Well, I do and I don't. I mean, the way he's like, he's never coming back. I was like, really? They were gonna write him out? Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like Liam would know that it's a temporary thing.
Yeah,
And so why is he trying to screw with her head more?
yeah. But I also get that he's trying to get her on stage. And it is her
Mm-hmm.
work, it's her job. Like,
Yeah.
if my marriage ended tomorrow, I would still have to show up for work the next day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
as much as like you wouldn't want to, like you're a grown up, that's what you do.
Yeah. He's like, this is what you're getting paid for.
Yeah. Yeah,
This is why we're paying you.
work doesn't care about your personal shit generally.
Yeah. He's like, get your ass on stage and earn your money.
And more to the point, I have this note. Once again, Jude is compromising her art for a guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's her record release party. She's so proud of this album. Once again, she's compromising it for a man.
Yeah.
She's done it with Jamie. She's done it with Shay. She's done it with
Mm.
Tommy more than once. This is not the first time.
Well, and even because I still say that skin is not about one person. I think it's about multiple people.
Yeah.
And so she's even compromised her work over her dad to a degree.
Yeah. I get that you pull from inspiration for music, but you don't then compromise your successes for people.
Right.
Like, Tommy would want her to play at her release party.
Mm.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Your successes are not their successes.
No.
I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah. And we see that in, is it next season, where she puts out that bad album and Tommy doesn't want his name all over it because
Yeah.
once again she's compromised her art for a man again.
Yeah.
And it's affecting him at that point as well. Like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
It's infuriating.
It is.
Well, then we go to Mason's tour and he performs. He's putting his music first, unlike Jude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jude has arrived in bits, but he's still going to play first and then talk to her. Like,
Yeah.
Mason knows what's up. I'm sad that he disappeared.
Yes.
Well,
He even says when she gets there, he's like, I'm so happy you're here and we'll talk, but I have to go on stage 1st.
Mm-hmm. And he literally says, don't you have an album release party? Like, 100 miles away. And Jude literally says to him, I think I'm having a nervous breakdown. Is she being dramatic? Like, I mean, Tommy did say he wasn't coming back. Sure. I guess that's a big deal. I was trying to put myself in her shoes at 17. They have a very kind of codependent relationship. Maybe it would make sense that she's being that upset, but I don't know.
I know, speaking for myself personally, if I was 17 years old and took off from a work event, drove 100 miles in the dead of night, and told a friend that was working, I think I'm having a nervous breakdown because my date, there's feelings and there's a history involved. But he showed up and said, I'm leaving and I don't think I'm coming back. But I booked it out of town because I think I'm having a nervous breakdown. My friend would be on the phone with my family, my mental health care team, and they would be doing a crisis appointment.
Yeah,
Because that
again, like,
is,
where is her dad?
yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, that's just, it's almost like Jude is addicted and dependent on Tommy.
Yep.
And to be there is not healthy.
No. No, and as much as I
Addiction,
love them as a couple, they are not a very healthy couple.
no. I mean, addictions and dependencies destroy you and they kill you. And
Yeah.
that's why unhealthy relationships, a part of me will always love Jude and Tommy. Because, I mean, you can't deny the chemistry. But because of some things I'm going through and watching this show now, I'm just seeing like red flag,
Yeah.
red flag, red flag. And I'm like, if this was real life, somebody should have stepped in and probably thrown Tommy's ass in jail.
I feel like the only person that ever steps in is Sadie periodically throughout each season.
Yeah. And thrown Jude's ass in freaking counseling, if not a hold in an inpatient place. Because there's a lot more than just dependency going on there.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't deny their chemistry, but you also can't deny that there's a lot of issues there too.
Mm-hmm.
For on both sides, like Tommy and her.
Yeah.
We're getting deep this episode. Ooh.
We on it.
Ooh.
We should put up like a PSA warning, be
Yeah.
like, this
Trigger warning.
episode.
Well, then we go back to Jude's release party, and Liam and Sadie get into this fight, and he calls her useless. In my opinion, their chemistry is still off the charts at this point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
their fight has more chemistry than Quest and Sadie not having a fight.
Yes. Yes.
But he shouldn't have called her useless.
Mm-mm.
And that's pretty much the last we see of Liam, I think, too.
Yeah, I think so. I
They
know
fight-
this is the last episode we've seen, so
Yeah, they fight and he falls into the black hole. So,
yeah. I mean, at least he went out with a bang.
true, yes. And then Patsy goes on and performs Jude's song with SME. She steals every scene she's in. That bit where she's like stealing all the food off of the
Yeah.
the trays, I love it. Even when there's no dialogue, she just steals every scene.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't even know that she's been nominated to go on instead of Jude, just eating her food.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the creepy photographer guy with Jude. I mean, he's definitely a creep. Like, he gives off creep energy. Is he supposed to be charming? Like, are we supposed to think he's charming first?
I don't know, because I never got the charming vibe from him.
Me neither. Like, he's just gross.
Yeah.
If you know who Jude Harrison is, you know that she's 17. You know that she's too young to drink.
Yeah.
Yet you're giving her tequila shots. It's not even like it's a beer.
No, it's... Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And then Mason convinces Jude to perform on his tour instead of her release party. And she seems okay with that. So they perform There's Us, and Patsy is also performing There's Us. Oh my God, I love this mashup. I literally have written the best performance of the whole show. I got chills. Just the way they kind of melded the two versions together. I loved it so much. It was just amazing. And then obviously during the performances, we see Jude get more drunk and more drunk. and we see Tommy go to the little girl. And I literally have a note that says Tommy's storyline was obviously just scrapped for season 3 because this is
Yeah.
just messy. Like,
I mean, I don't know if they had more plans to bring it up in a later season, and they wanted, because I can't remember for sure, but I thought I heard somewhere that they weren't expecting the cancellation in season 4.
yeah, I think so.
I thought that they thought they were at least getting a season 5.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe they thought they had more seasons to bring it back around. I don't know if they plan to in season 3 and they just ran out of time. I don't know. But I'm like, what? That's what happens. I mean, were there too many writers in the writing room that had, and it just fell farther and farther on the ideal list? I don't.
We'll ask Stephen because I'm dying to know. I've always wanted to ask that. Like, what happened?
Yes.
Jude at this point is wasted because we've just seen her get more and more drunk. And Mason gives her his room key. But again, like, he doesn't walk her to his room, which seems very un-Mason like because he is a gentleman, you know.
Only thing I can think of is he says, I have 2 more interviews. So maybe he's still in that like work frame of mind and he's thinking, right now I'm working, personal life has to come after work.
Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah. Mason's
but
on the ball.
instead, creepy guy walks her to the room instead. And like you said before, he really takes advantage of her vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like, she hates being by herself, which made me really sad. Like, we don't really ever see Jude that vulnerable. She's quite good at kind of, yes, she has the occasional breakdown, but she's never ever really said at any other point, I hate being by myself. And that kind of made me sad for her. Like, she's had a lot go wrong in her life since season 1. And it really highlights her mental state this season. Like, her mum left, Tommy left. No wonder she's in a bad headspace.
Yeah.
I think they could have explored that a lot more if they'd wanted to.
I would be interested to see, because, you know, back in 2006, 2007, that was kind of when, at least for me and my friends, that was when mental health was just starting
Yeah.
to become openly talked about. And you want the weird kid if you are in counseling. You want the weird kid if you fought depression. And so seeing how that changed to where it is now, where, I mean, everybody, I would be interested to see this show like redone.
Yeah.
And see if they maybe do take that approach.
Yeah, because I know they touch on it again in season 3 where she has that meltdown. I don't really remember because it's been ages since I saw it. But again, they don't really dig as deep as they could have. Like you said, like, mental health was still not as talked about back then.
Yeah, it wasn't like as accepted.
Yeah. But I mean, here you're really highlighting the mental health of a 17-year-old girl who has been thrust into this abnormal life and has literally just admitted that she hates being by herself. And I loved that glimpse of her vulnerability. I wish they could have addressed it more, but I understand why they didn't. And then, you know, creepy guy takes creepy pictures of her.
Yes.
Wonderful. Again, like, I think they were trying to highlight there the what happens with celebrities sometimes where they end up in these compromising situations. And obviously they couldn't have her like naked in the pictures or anything, but it was probably as close as they could come to showing the bad things that can happen to young female artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not even like female artists. I mean, think about how many high schoolers you read about that are bullied because this picture was leaked or that picture was posted of them at a party or this event or
Yeah.
this football game, and but this one committed suicide. I don't know if I can say that. This one took action because they were they had done this and this and this at a party, or this and this and this happened
Yeah.
by these people at a party.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I mean,
crazy.
it's a sad word.
Yeah. And I think even back then, at this point in the show, even like the internet was not what it is now.
Right.
And we see in the next episode in season 3 where she uploads the pictures to her own site. But that was the infancy of what the internet is today. It
Mm-hmm.
was kind of the beginning of like the sex tapes and
Yeah.
all of that crazy stuff on the internet. Like, I don't know, it was just a
I'm
moment in
thinking,
time.
yeah, I'm thinking because that would have been
Oh, wait, no.
07, 08. So maybe Facebook, like MySpace was out, but like MySpace was done, but maybe Facebook.
Yeah.
I think it was just like kicking in for high schoolers in getting on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
So
crazy.
yeah,
I keep saying that
God,
word. I hate using that
old.
word. Um, the next morning, Jude is hungover, obviously, and Jamie is there because people just drive for hours and don't question it. And he says, you have to come back and face Darius with me. And Mason literally says, that guy from last night was kind of cute to Jude. I'm like, did you not get the creepy vibes? He looked so much older than her, like he was at least 30.
Yeah,
Come on, Mason. This is your last scene ever before you disappear into the black hole, and that's
he's
what you
been
say.
on it all up until then.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess we have to give him a little grace.
true. But that's the end of Mason. Mason and Liam, gone.
Gone.
And then Jude does go back to Darius, and he flips out at her. He says, where's Tommy? I'm sorry, what?
What?
You know where Tommy is. You sent him.
Yes, you organized it.
Did you not know at this point? Like, how can you not know? It's so confusing. I'm so confused.
Yes.
I feel like maybe at this point they didn't know it was going to be Darius's kid. That's all I can think.
Mm-hmm.
But still, confusing when you know what comes.
Yes.
Anyway, she finds out her album hit #1, which is huge. Like, that's such a cool thing. And Darius says
Especially
the
for
only
her
reason...
sophomore album, because normally
Yeah,
sophomore albums suck.
that's crazy. But Darius says the only reason you're getting a second chance is because you hit #1, which seems a bit weird. But also, isn't this her third chance? Because her second chance was the yacht party in season 2, episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he forgot that. And then the episode ends where we see the photographer guy. He's going to blackmail Jude for $50,000. And that's how it ends. Messy episode.
Very messy episode.
What was
And
your
a lot
theme?
deeper
sorry.
episode now that I was talking it through.
It gets messier the more you talk it through.
Yeah.
What was your theme? You always choose good themes.
I didn't really. Trying to think.
Mine was facing the music, even though that's not really a theme, but
Well, I mean, I put down trying to escape.
Oh yeah, good one. Yeah, they're kind of opposites, like trying to escape but also having to face the music
Yeah.
where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jude facing the music. When I say face the music, I mean like metaphorically facing the
Right.
music despite Tommy leaving. Tommy's facing whatever his messy music is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's kind of facing their own challenges, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel
And,
like, oh, sorry, you go.
well, I was gonna say, and at the same time, they're both running away. Like Tommy's running away from Jude
Yeah.
into a messier situation, but and Jude ran away from her job, her record release party.
Yeah. I also feel like the finale of season one, there weren't any loose ends. Like, to be honest, Instant Star could have ended there and everything would
Mm-hmm.
have been fairly wrapped up, you know. She went off on
Yeah.
tour. It ended quite like nicely. This
Mm-hmm.
episode, there's just so many cliffhangers with everyone.
Yes.
So they must have known they were getting a season three, even if the
Mm-hmm.
trajectory of it changed. But
Yeah.
yeah. What were your likes and dislikes?
Um, my likes were mainly characters. My likes were Sadie.
Yeah, I loved her this episode.
I just felt like Sadie was on point, like sass queen this episode.
Yeah.
Um, and then I didn't like all the I put overreaction, overreacting, I guess. And I didn't like. It felt very. I didn't like the cliffhangers. I felt like like you said, there were too many of them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did like the Sadie and Liam chemistry, and I did like the Jude and Tommy chemistry, but I also did not like picking up on the red flags with Jude and Tommy.
Oh,
Like
and
I
it
said
gets
though,
worse.
yeah, like I said though, that could be because of some things I'm going through, and I'm watching it now with older eyes.
Yeah. When you're young, you're like, oh, the drama's so dreamy, or I was anyway. Like,
Yeah.
and now you're a grown up, you're like, wait a minute, this is not good.
No.
It only gets worse. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, we all know that.
Yes.
I loved or liked Sadie's dress that Liam gets her. She just looks amazing
Yes.
in it. Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
I loved the Jude and Patsy song mashup. I thought that was just
Hmm.
the best performance of the season. And I loved Jude's album name, Learning Curve. Such a good album name.
Yes. That was the one like album I wish was a real album
Yes. Although I feel like we got all of the songs on the
on the
soundtrack, didn't we?
soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I'd say the season two soundtrack is probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the last one that Alex fully recorded on her own as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get into that next season. I disliked the whole Tommy storyline, like because I know where it leads, which is nowhere.
Yeah.
And I disliked Jude's immaturity, but I'm also trying to remind myself that she is only 17
Mm-hmm.
and we all make stupid decisions when we're 17. What was your chemistry, Cam?
Um. Oh, the let me take you to dinner.
Yeah, me too. It was such a quiet scene, like so much
Yeah.
said without being said.
Yeah. It was very much one of those like subtle like it kind of has to sit there and fester, and then with time it gets more and more like intimate, I guess.
And if you're a Jude and Tommy fan, it's literally what you've been waiting for
Yeah.
them to go on a date, you know.
Yes.
The fact that it ends badly, like, but just the fact that he asks her is such a huge step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved that. I also loved the bit before where they're kind of joking about her driving improving as well. Like that whole scene together is great.
Yes.
Okay, what were your what the fuck moments? I only had 3, which isn't bad.
Um, so I just put Tommy's storyline, and
Why
then
is Tommy there? Like, why is Tommy at the house?
yes, and then I put where did Mason go? Where did Liam go? And what's the other one? I can't remember my last one, but that was mainly it.
I
Oh,
had
it was
oh
how does Darius not know where Tommy is?
no one knows where Tommy is or why he's gone or where he's gone.
Yes.
Oh my god. I had the restaurant where Liam and Sadie have dinner is clearly the same restaurant that Jude meets Tommy for dinner, which is meant to be happening on the same night. Like it all happens the same.
Yes.
So it's obviously supposed to be 2 separate restaurants, but it's definitely the same restaurant.
Yes.
It's everyone who ever goes for dinner in this show goes to the same restaurant,
Goes to the same restaurant.
like hours apart. um, the whole Tommy leaving storyline. Liam says Tommy chose to leave. Tommy says he doesn't think he'll be coming back. There's a random hitman looking dude. Darius doesn't know where Tommy is. Like, it's just a whole what the fuck moment. Like,
Yes.
it's just yeah. And then Mason doesn't walk Jude to his room because he says he has 2 more interviews, but it's clearly like night. Like it must be like midnight or something.
Yeah.
Really? Not very believable. I guess it's music, so maybe it doesn't matter, but who are your heroes and villains?
Villain was Hitman guy. I actually had 2 villains. I even put Jude down.
Ooh.
And I just put gosh, I forgot what I put. Oh, I put self-destructive over dramatic.
Yeah, that sums Jude up.
And then I put who was my hero? I actually put Tommy and Darius as my hero
Okay.
for setting up Tommy to go get the little Gorn.
Yeah, those are interesting heroes and villains. My villain was the creepy photographer guy because
Oh yeah.
he's just in it to ruin Jude's life.
Yes.
My hero was Jamie, which I never thought I would say, but he's literally the reason Jude goes back and faces the music.
Yes.
And he says the sweetest quote where he says, you know, there's people who love you back home in this room, like essentially saying you don't need Tommy to survive in life. Jamie's so redeeming when he's not trying to date Jude.
Yes. Like I actually like Jamie when
Yes.
he's not trying to date Jude.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into our song review. We technically had 2 songs this episode. Another Thin Line and There's Us. How many instant stars did you give each song?
So I did. Well, I broke it down to 3. I gave Another Thin Line. I've always just been straight down the middle. Not a huge fan. Don't necessarily dislike it. 5, 6. Got to be in a certain mood for it.
Yeah.
There's a Jude. I gave a 9. Patsy, I gave an 8, but the like mesh up, I gave a 10.
Yeah. It's so interesting. So Another Thin Line is one of my favorite songs of the whole show. I
Mm.
love the production of it. Like
Yeah.
it's a song that I'm always in the mood to listen to.
Mm.
I gave it 9. There's Us I
Mm.
also gave 9. Um, but I gave the mashup 9. I think like when I play the soundtrack, it's not one I would always play just because
Mm.
it's a bit slow. Um, but the mashup, I mean, I thought it was the best performance of the whole series so far. Okay, we'll do pop culture. Did you have anything for pop culture?
Mm-mm.
I had a few. So the episode title is Date with the Night, which is a song by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I didn't know that.
Mm.
I barely know who they are. um, Jude says every question you have in life can be answered by Joey Ramone lyrics. And he was an American singer, best known as the founding member of the Ramones. Sadie says, what is this, some sort of kinky James Bond fantasy of yours? James Bond is a British fictional Secret Service agent written by Ian Fleming. And Jamie says Joe Strummer disappeared right before a big tour. He is the co-founder and lead vocalist of The Clash, and he actually did disappear before a tour. That was true.
Mm.
And then the instant star song There's Us was covered by the Backstreet Boys in 2015, which is so wild.
I love their cover.
It's
I'm
just like
just like,
the Backstreet Boys are
oh,
quite a big deal. Like, oh my god.
yes. And I'm like, how did they even hear that song?
Yeah, it's so weird. Ugh. Okay, what were your favorite quotes?
Um, so my favorite quote was a Sadie quote, and it's back when she was outside with Patsy Quest and her, while SME is loading up the van. But she said, like I said, our guards invited.
Yes, that was the quote I was trying to remember.
But that, I'm just like, her sass right then. I'm like, mwah.
Yeah, yeah. Was that your only one?
Well, just that whole like little scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I had two. I had when Tommy says, "What you waiting for, big eyes?" Love that.
Yes.
And when Jamie says, "I'm kind of obsessive compulsive when it comes to you," I thought that was sweet.
Oh yes, I love those.
Okay, what was your hashtag iconic?
I think it would had to be the backstage drama scene,
Okay, yeah.
and I did have to, and Sadie standing up to Liam,
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
she's
that
like,
was
"Did
good.
you just call me useless?"
Yeah. Yeah, she really doesn't let him talk her down. She's like, "Excuse me?"
Yeah, Sadie doesn't take any shit from anybody,
No, she doesn't. She might
and
end up
I
becoming
like,
my favorite character. We'll see.
yeah, I'm like, I love you, Sadie.
You've always loved Sadie, though.
I do. Now, at first I was like, oh, it's the big sister thing, but I'm just like, she's a boss.
I like Sadie when she's not trying to be with Tommy because they don't work.
Yes. I'm like, that's the key point, is just don't try to be with Tommy.
Like, I love Jamie when he's not trying to be with Jude. You know, there's a theme. My hashtag iconic was Jude getting to number 1 after the crazy year of season 2. Like, her first album flopped.
Mm-hmm.
Her career was in the toilet. Like, the fact that the season ends with her getting to number 1, that was such an iconic moment, I think.
Yes.
Okay, let's spin a wheel. The most likely to. Who is most likely to be famous for something dumb?
Mm. I feel like that's a quest.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Some random thing that's like irrelevant.
Yes.
Like,
Kind of like his character.
Oh, burn.
Ooh. Sorry, it was channeling my inner Sadie.
Burn. Yeah, I like that. Let's go with Quest. Okay. Out of 10 instant stars, how many do you rate this episode?
So I like that. I like picking up the deeper undertones now, the play on the mental health and the things, all that. But overall, I have to give it a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, I gave it 7. The music makes it good because it's some of the
Yeah.
best songs, I think.
Yeah. Well, because it's also like, the things that we're picking up now that were in our 30s, we missed when we were 17, 18 years old. So it's a two-headed coin,
Yeah, I remember
Was
the
we-
nostalgia of how much I loved this episode back then, but now it just seems messy and all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it 7. Which I
Yeah,
think is
I agree with 7.
like we're quite harsh with our ratings. It's rare that an episode gets 10, I think.
Yeah.
Because you can't be a diehard fan and not have opinions
Critique.
and judgments about
Yeah.
it. Well, that was our episode recap of 213. I can't wait to get to season 3, but we're going to talk to Stephen Ston about all of season 2 prior to that. And did we do a season 1 recap, like wrap up? I think we did, didn't we? Just you and me.
I think we did.
So I think we should do that this time, like a whole kind of overview of season 2.
Okay.
And then we'll talk to Stephen, and then we'll be back for season 3. And I can't wait because pretty sure season 3 is like my favorite season from memory.
Yes.
But thank you everyone for listening and being patient with us. Yeah, we love everyone that listens, and we'll be back soon. Thanks for listening.
Yes. Thank you for sticking with us through season 2, and we will be back soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Breakdown, an Instant Star Rewatch podcast. The Breakdown was produced by me, Chloe, and Neon Network Production. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and listen to all episodes of The Breakdown on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. See you next time.